This is Gabriela on the scene today with Talk Network Radio. We have a real treat for you just around the corner, and that is Empowered Living with Jeff Byrd. Jeff is the owner of Jeffrey Byrd Coaching, and he will be coming to you weekly to teach you more about empowered living. Now, let's join Jeff already in the studio.
Hello and welcome. I'm Jeff Byrd with Jeffrey Byrd Coaching, and this is Empowered Living. Today we've got a kind of a funny title for our topic. It's called Holidays in the New York Nanosecond. And first of all, I'll tell you why I picked the holidays to do this in. It's interesting to me. It's always been interesting. The time of year that seems to be the most jolly and fun and bright and all those wonderful things is actually a time that can be so stressful. And I was reading some statistics the other day, and I was shocked to see that 43% of Americans said they would just as soon skip Christmas completely because of the stress, because of the financial strain, because of the added, obligation of family events and meetings and those things that are supposed to be really fun, but they can really add a lot of pressure. And we can get stressed out, and in the midst of that stress, we can get pretty impatient sometimes. And I'll tell you, this happened to me last night. It had been a long day. I was tired. I was coming back from another city. I needed to stop in at an open house that some friends of mine were hosting, and I really didn't feel like going, but they're good friends of mine. They're very dear to me, and a number of them are going to be there. But, it's just one of those times. I'm a little bit of an ambivert. I can be an introvert, and I can be an extrovert. But, on the rougher days, it had been kind of a tough day, and like I said, a long day, and really didn't feel like being there very much. And so I was just going to pop in and say hi and stay for a couple of minutes and then kind of sneak out, which I did. Actually, I got caught and got a phone call about it later going, oh, yeah, you left and didn't even say goodbye. I said, yeah, no, it was on purpose. I didn't want to get there saying a half hour worth of goodbyes. I was just ready to be home. I was kind of done. But so I thought I'd just pop out and hit the interstate and get right home, and got to the light and realized nobody was moving, and it was a green light. And then I realized, well, the interstate on-ramp right next to the light was backed up and nobody was moving. Looked up at the interstate, and wouldn't you know it, just standing traffic, lights as far as you could see, just not moving at all. And I thought, oh my goodness, I just want to be home. I just want to get there. So I thought, well, I'll take this other alternate route that doesn't put me on the highway. And boy, I tell you what, I sat through multiple cycle after cycle of lights at a couple of different places. And I thought, man, I don't know if I'm ever going to get home. And it was really frustrating. It's easy for the impatience to grow in times like those. And it reminded me of what my dad used to say as a kid. He would tell me frequently that a New York nanosecond, which is a 1/1,000,000th of a second, a New York nanosecond is the amount of time between when the light turns green and the guy behind you blows the horn. That's what a New York nanosecond is. It's because everybody's in a hurry. Everybody wants to be somewhere else. And I started thinking about that, and I thought, well, there's messages to everything in life. And I thought, well, what are some of the messages when I'm being impatient, or others are being impatient with me, or I'm being impatient with myself? What are some of those messages? And, it says things when we're impatient, like to other people, like, you aren't important. You're in my way. I don't really value you and what's important to you. And sometimes it can really be like, you just don't matter. And boy, I tell you, sometimes I feel that way, when I'm out in traffic. So it's like, boy, these people just as soon run over me as wait for me. Several times recently, I've had the right of way in a crosswalk and had cars just whip through turning just right across the crosswalk with me standing in it with the little, flashing walkie sign, and they don't care. They just couldn't care less. They just run right over me. It wouldn't matter to them, And I thought, wow, it's really rough when we get so stressed and so impatient to get somewhere, to be somewhere else, that those are the kind of messages that we communicate to each other. So with those, we don't want to have those messages. So with patience, the message is that other people and important goals are worth waiting for. Worth waiting for the people because they matter, even if it holds me up a couple of minutes, right? The people are more important than that couple of minutes. And that if it's a goal that I'm having to be patient in the obtaining of, then it's worth waiting for. It's worth taking a little bit of extra time, like the college student who's just, about to give up, and just needs to realize that, hey, this is going to be worth it. Let me persevere. Let me hang in there a little bit longer. Let me have a little bit of patience. And I think this is really, really true with ourselves. I think one of the times that we're most impatient can be with ourselves, with our own perceived shortcomings, with where we maybe thought we would be in life by now, how we thought things would be, and they're not quite what we thought they were going to be. We're not making quite as quick a progress as we thought we were going to make, and it can be very easy to really be critical with ourselves and be impatient with ourselves, and that can really turn into some, if we don't watch out, into some negative self-judgments. Saying to ourselves, "Hey, boy, you just don't measure up. You just don't. You're just not up to snuff. Everybody else is better because everybody else looks all put together because they're hiding their weaknesses like we all tend to do." Yeah. And it can really get us down, and then it can make us think, "Oh yeah, why bother? I'm not really that good. I don't really." This is probably not for me. I shouldn't just keep trying. I should just, take this lower spot, just go back to small thinking and stop trying to think big and to make a difference. And so there's another aspect that I think is hand in hand with patience, and that's faith. And this may or may not be a highly religious type of faith, but the faith that believing that when we prioritize other people and valuing them, and persevering in things that matter, that the best things will happen. Faith in believing that what I'm sowing out there and the way that I treat other people and the things that I put first and when I really hang in there and have patience in those things, that the best things are going to happen. That and the opposite of that, the lack of faith, we go, no, this just has to be, and it has to be right now, and I've got to make it happen, and I'm just in a hurry, and I'm mad at everybody, and I'm just going to push through and have no patience. And what happens is I end up devaluing people in that process. And I get known for being a person who devalues others. So I may make it up the ladder. I may force my way up the ladder, but end up having very, very little positive influence. And get to the end of my life going, wow, so I made it to the top of my ladder. Now here I am on my deathbed, and all I left is a trail of destruction behind me. So I don't think any of us want to end up there. I think we all want to get to that point at the end of our life and look back and go, wow, I'm glad I took the time with people that I did. I'm glad I treated people the way I did. I'm glad I developed and persevered in those important things. And even when it was slower, even when I felt like giving up, I didn't give up. I just kept on going. I had patience with myself and with others and with circumstances.
Jeff will be back shortly to wrap up today's message. This is Gabriela, still on the scene today with Talk Network Radio. If you're just tuning in, you're listening to Empowered Living with Jeff Byrd. If you've missed any part of today's message, you can hear it again online, as well as the entire archive of Empowered Living at www.talknetworkradio.com or search keyword #Empowered Living. We would like to acknowledge our music partners, Sound Ideas for Corporate to the Max, and Kevin MacLeod for Airport Lounge. Any scriptures read during this broadcast are from the New American Standard Version of the Holy Bible. If you would like to learn more about Jeffrey Byrd Coaching, visit www.jeffbyrdcoaching.com. That is JEFFBYRD coaching.com. Do a Facebook search for @CoachingRocks or drop Jeff a line at jeff@jeffbyrdcoaching.com. Again, JEFFBYRD coaching.com. Let Jeff's Coaching Rocks be the building blocks of your empowered success. Now, let's go back to Jeff for the rest of today's message.
So, a few thoughts on practicing patience. So, number one is to realize that the way we treat others, even in our busiest times, makes a value statement to them that carries repercussions. If everybody knows you're stressed out and you're busy and they still see you take time to be considerate, to listen, to show that you see value in another person, you're going to get known for that. And then that's going to pay big dividends. Okay. Number two is to remember that at the end of the day, every task is meant to add value to other people, right? No matter what job you're in, any legitimate job exists so that it can add value to people in some way. Okay. Even somebody who doesn't have direct contact with people, that say they're just making a part or making something, creating an object or a car or a piece of electronic equipment. even people doing that or managing the systems that do, since many of them are automated, even that, they're doing something that adds value to people. That's the whole point. So keeping it in mind that our tasks exist to add value to people. People don't exist just to do tasks. The only reason we do tasks is because they help people, right? So keeping that in mind, that at the end of the day, we're helping people. So keeping that value-adding perspective throughout the day to the best we can do with everybody we meet, including ourselves, keeps us in harmony, and it sends out these positive, value-adding ripple effects to other people. And when people feel valued, they just tend to do better. So you never know when a little moment of seeing somebody with value and adding value to them may make a big difference in their day and in the way they treat others, and then it can just ripple on out into the life. And number 3 is understanding that the ability to do the right thing, even while waiting for what you want to come to pass, is the ticket to your ultimate success. Waiting is difficult. Delays are difficult. But then it's more, my theme this year has been, it's not so much what I'm experiencing as what I'm becoming. What I'm becoming. So when I realized that the way that I respond to those delays, to those setbacks, to those waiting seasons, that is developing something in me. I'm becoming different. I'm becoming changed. I'm growing. I'm maturing. And then how I deal with that and how I respond, that's going to be ultimately the ticket to my success, because then I'll be able to help other people. I'll have something of value to add to them. I'll be able to make a difference in their lives and up-level their lives. Because if all I do is just stomp around in a rage every time I have to wait for something or show some patience, and I never grow, then I don't have anything to pass on to anybody. I can't help them. There's a passage in the Bible that I love in the book of James. It's chapter 1, verse 4, and that says, "But let patience have its perfect work, so that you may be entire, complete, and lacking nothing." That's quite a promise. Anybody want to be entire, complete, and lacking nothing? All of that, according to this verse, is contingent on patience, having patience. Let patience have its perfect work in you, some versions say, so that you may be entire, complete, and lacking nothing. If we can develop patience during the difficult seasons, during the frustrating traffic, during the times when we seem to come up short, when we think, hey, I'm just never going to make it, but we still have patience, and then we have patience with other people. We still see their value and put them first, even when we feel like just running over them and carrying on our way. When we do that, we become entire and complete and lacking nothing. So patience with others, as with our circumstances, is the golden key to lasting our best development and our success. And it's tough. A lot of people like to accuse the millennial generation, and probably there's some justice in it. There's some reasons for it too. But being impatient. I was listening to a Simon Sinek interview the other day, and he said that he was at this organization and he was talking to this one millennial, and he said, "How you doing?" And he said, "Well, I'm thinking about resigning, quitting, going on to something else." He said, "Well, what's wrong? Why do you want to do that?" He said, "Well, I don't feel like I'm having an impact. I don't feel like I'm having an impact, whatever that means." And so Simon asked, he said, "Well, how long have you been here?" He said, "Well, 8 months." So it might take a little longer than that, to really develop and become your best and make your biggest contribution. So those are a few thoughts that I wanted to add in here on patience, especially during the holidays, because the jolly time can be far less than jolly when we let impatience kind of filter in and start to get a hold of us. So I hope that you'll take a little bit of time and think on this, and give yourself a break too. My goodness, just give yourself a break. Because that everything in the house, the decorations aren't going to be perfect, the house isn't going to be perfect, the job's not. There's not going to be anything that's going to be perfect at that time. At any time in life, and especially during the holidays. So let's take some time and just look at how we're responding when we're disrupted. Take a big deep